members of the media for coming out this afternoon and listening to what we have to say. And through you, I would, of course, greet the members of the public who are tuned in live via the radio. The reason I have asked you to come and join us is so we can discuss the situation with respect to tourism right now, the leading economic sector in Barbados, and also share with you some specific initiatives that we have planned for implementation over the over the upcoming months. It is no secret, of course, that the Caribbean region continues to face declines with respect to our rivals, and for that matter, the spend also. But faced with that reality, we also have to face the other reality, and that is that our source markets are the prospect for improving the economic or improved economic conditions in our source markets is not as optimistic as we would like. The reality is that the Eurozone remains in a mess. The UK economy is still sluggish, and the USA is making, at best, very slow progress. Canada, who has been so well for us over the number of years, has plateaued for all intents and purposes. And Brazil, where we have been focusing on recently, is also dealing with a bit of economic stagnation themselves. So the reality is that we are indeed in some very challenging times. Having said that, the government has come up with a number of initiatives that I think can certainly help to rescue the situation somewhat, and in my view also will put us on course for improvements as we come out of this period. And one of the things that we have insisted on is that indeed the initiatives that we take with respect to institutional adjustments, with respect to improving our product, with respect to how we look at source markets differently, that they must make us more robust going forward, so that the next time that Barbados may face economic challenges, or should I say our source markets, the global economy, next time that it takes a recession, we can be a little more robust to confront those situations. Much of what I'm going to be sharing with you, certainly up front, are measures that would have been taken in consultation with the Ministry of Finance. The Minister of Finance is here also, and will be able to expatiate on some of those proposals. And let me take this opportunity to thank everyone who has contributed to making this a possibility. We obviously, the officers at the Ministry of Tourism and the Barbados Tourism Authority, but indeed the officials from the Ministry of Finance, Central Bank of Barbados, for that matter, even the National Insurance Scheme. Everyone that has come together. I also I'm prepared to publicly thank Mrs. Patricia Das and the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association for also offering some very, very interesting ideas as well. And we certainly will be looking forward to taking on board as a number of those suggestions. Some of them, again, will be in the 10 points that I'm revealing to you this afternoon, but again, this list is not exhaustive. Minister of Finance also has his statement sometime next month, the budgetary statement, and indeed between now and then, and even after then, we will continue in this very dynamic period to respond to the needs of the sector. So with that said, I will share with you the 10 points that we are, or 10 initiatives that we're going to be implementing over the next several weeks. And the first one is that we're going to provide a $10 million window for the retrofitting of air conditioning and lighting systems in the tourism and hospitality sector. This will be the first phase of the $150 million Energy Efficiency and Hotel Refurbishment Fund. Of course, further aspects of this fund will be rolled out over the upcoming months, and that, of course, is an initiative being undertaken along with the National Insurance Scheme and and um, and is being closely monitored by the Ministry of Energy as well. I neglected to thank them for their input in some of these initiatives as well. Barbados is committed to the green economy, and we believe very strongly that with respect to tourism as well, if we can encourage as many of our partners in tourism to buy into it, not only is there cost saving, but there is a genuine marketing tool as well. As I like to say, everyone who's interested in responsible tourism, who's committed to living as green a life as possible, if I can use that term, they should want to come to Barbados because they recognize a genuine, authentic effort at the national level to see how we can, as much as possible, commit ourselves to renewable energy. And in that vein, we will allow a 50% land tax rebate for investment in renewable energy initiatives. As you know, that was announced in the 2011 budget, but we are extending it now to tourism and hospitality entities once they implement a credible energy efficiency program. The programs, of course, will be assessed by the Division of Energy, and the rebate will be provided under the renewable energy bill that will be laid in the House shortly. That bill is completed, and certainly by month end, if not earlier, that bill will be laid in the House, and that is the second initiative, and again is in committed to, or rather, a direct result of our commitment to the green economy. The third initiative, which is very much related to that, is that certainly by October, and before the winter season, we will allow over a 12-month period for tourism and hospitality entities to get a 5% rebate on their electricity bill. This, of course, once again apply to entities that put in place a credible energy efficiency plan, investment in energy from renewable sources, and they will enjoy that rebate on an ongoing basis. It will end after 12 months for entities that do not make such an investment. So in essence, we are giving you a little bit of an incentive there, as they say, using honey as opposed to using vinegar. If you're prepared to make the investment on an ongoing basis, then you can enjoy the rebate. And I would just mention here that electricity bills are quite high in some of these properties, so this is potentially a significant amount, and therefore the government is making a very significant commitment to the sector. The exchequer is prepared to make a sacrifice here in the interest of recognizing the issue of cost, energy costs, that the sector constantly complains about, the cost of inputs and particularly the cost of energy. And so that initiative is designed very much with that. The fourth initiative relates again very closely and is very similar. Entities that undertake a credible water management program can also have a rebate of 5% of their water bills. Again, water bills are also quite high. Water usage is high in hotel plants, and so you can also get a 5% rebate with respect to your water usage. And again, the rebate will be on an ongoing basis for those that make the investment in the credible water management program, but for those who don't, the rebate will end after 12 months. And again, given those four initiatives, which we are happy to see happen between the Division of Energy and the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, the Ministry of Tourism then will launch a program to increase the number of Green Globe certified hotels and implement an international marketing strategy to promote Barbados as sustainable, green and a clean energy destination. I alluded to that earlier, but I guess as the fifth initiative, I'm just getting a little more specific in terms of what we will be doing to truly benefit from the marketing end by these initiatives and so on, which we expect will bring savings and will make the industry more competitive and so on. Our sixth initiative now, and I'm moving away a little bit now from the question of utilities and so on, is that we will strengthen the events-based tourism. Events-based tourism has worked extremely well for Barbados as a destination in the past and continues to do so. And we are committed to, of course, shoring up our existing program. We continue to work with the National Cultural Foundation with respect to crop over, and the arrivals and are very encouraging, or should I say the forward bookings. And it's already reached a stage where people are struggling to get flights, and we are looking to put on extra flights. So we will continue our work with respect to crop over. We will continue our work with respect to food, wine, and rum. That is going into its fourth edition, I believe, in this November, and we will, of course, want to plan something special for the fifth edition. It has already, in 4 short years, emerged as the premier culinary festival in the Caribbean, and that, of course, speaks to the tremendous comparative advantage we have as an Epicurean destination. The offerings that we have from fine dining to what one can call street food. I've heard some of the chefs and so-called refer to it as that. I mean, I certainly enjoy it myself. It's some of the best meals you get from the back of a Suzuki van. So, but we have the full gamut here, and that is good to see that in 4 short years we've come to that stage, and we will continue to support food, wine, and rum. The Cloby Cup comes back this year. We know that had some challenges, and I'm very happy to report that cricket legends of Barbados have grown up, so to speak, because no longer will they be calling upon the Barbados Tourism Authority to be a major sponsor. They have, in fact, been able to attract major sponsorship and international sponsorship. So they'll be earning us some foreign exchange too. A partner out of Canada, and I believe some other partners they have out of Asia. So the investment we made in Cloby up front, in my view, is now paying off. And that's a wonderful thing. Of course, the BTA is still a full partner, and we will do our part to work with them with respect to packages and try to make sure we have a successful Cloby Cup. Other events as well. The Rihanna concert, we will have Live Nation will produce a Rihanna concert. And again, that is different from last time when the Loud concert we had in 2011 was produced by the Barbados Tourism Authority in essence. So in that, we put it on. This time around, the world's largest concert promotion company is doing it. It's part of her Latin American tour. Of course, yes, we will work along with them. 13,000 people came in to Barbados for the last Rihanna concert, and I don't think we need to go any further. I mean, the CTO did a complete study on it. Many of you have seen it. We spoke to the tremendous spend, how restaurants and attractions and everyone benefited. The timing, of course, was right after crop over. People extended their stays and that type of thing. This time around, it's going to be in the shoulder period, just before the winter season starts. So we're happy about that, and we're glad to again work along with the Live Nation to see that concert comes off. In 2014, during the course of May, sports tourism goes in a new, exciting direction with the Top Gear Festival. We have signed an agreement with the producers of the Top Gear program to have the first of 3 Top Gear festivals. Prior to that, the Barbados Motoring Federation and their partners will complete some renovations on the Bushy Park facility. As I told the members of Intimate yesterday, I did see the press reports from the Chief Town Planner, but my information is that the application is being processed. The Chief is on board, and we will have what needs to be done for the Top Gear Festival completed in time, that we can have the Top Gear Festival. Now, for those of you who are not aware, the Top Gear is a program that comes on the BBC, hosted by Jeremy Clarkson. It is the world's most popular television program, shown in over 200 countries. It is a very popular program among motor enthusiasts. They have had these festivals in South Africa and Australia. They've never had one in the Western Hemisphere yet. And the first one they're having in the Western Hemisphere, they're having in Barbados. I say it is a new dawn for sports tourism, because inevitably motorsports, which is already incredibly popular in Barbados, will have a major boost. And my thinking is not only the Top Gear festivals, but certainly other motorsports activity at Bushy Park will go to another level, and we can see increased traffic from the region and indeed from outside of the region. Sports tourism in Barbados we associate with golf and cricket, hockey, and so on. But the truth is, internationally, by far and away, sports tourism, the most popular sport for moving people, is motorsports. And so for us to really become a serious regional player, and I mean regional there in the broader sense, not just the Caribbean region, having a world-class facility, I think it is a very good initiative, and we continue to enjoy tremendous support for these initiatives. Again, this list is not exhaustive. I just wanted to give you a snapshot of the existing events that we have that we're supporting, and a couple of the new ones, the major new ones that are coming on board. Another initiative, again, that we are looking at, you would have, of course, you would be aware of the Barbados Island Inclusive package that we started. That, of course, had a commitment of $11 million, and we've seen over 5,000 persons take advantage of the Barbados Island Inclusive program. So I think it's working. But we still feel that on top of that, we needed to do something special in our major source market, the United Kingdom. I mentioned earlier about the economy reeling. What I did not mention is that one of the other reasons that the UK business has softened is because of the airline passenger duty, that aviation tax, or should I say the increases that we've had over the last couple of years, has had a devastating impact on arrivals out of the UK to the Caribbean region. The arrivals into Barbados, of course, are down, but when you look at the arrivals to the region from the UK, the decline is even more severe than what it is in Barbados. And having said that, we have come up with an initiative where we will grant a credit voucher up to a specified amount in the Barbados equivalent of the APD paid by any British tourists who book for at least 2 weeks. And further details of this initiative will be released shortly. But the whole idea, again, is to give some encouragement to those who demonstrate they will be here for an extended period. You might think that 2 weeks is a little extreme, but coming out of the UK market, that's not unusual. They do tend to stay for longer periods. It is the American tourists that usually stay shorter. So we think that is a good incentive, a good way to counteract the impact of the APD, and doing so in a way where we can get increased spend on the ground, greater bed nights, and use of other tourism-related services. So that initiative, which is the 7th that I'm sharing with you, is one that is designed to really get those numbers up. Further details will be announced as we continue to get that in place over the next couple of weeks, and certainly it will be long in place before the winter season, and we would like to get that going at the earliest. Our eighth initiative, of course, is where we are going to launch a specific program aimed at our villas. The villa type accommodation will start to be marketed alongside our hotel room stock. Barbados has somewhere between 5,000 to 6,000 hotel rooms, but we also have 2,500 villa rooms, and many of these villas are world class. They could stand alongside the villas anywhere in the world, and we have kind of left them up there. Some of them do the occasional initiative with the traditional tourism operators, but many of them have been sort of doing their own thing. Usually the developers of the same villas and so on sort of do their thing, sometimes abroad, sometimes using technology, sometimes hiring real estate agents that may partner with other real estate agents and so on. But we are now going to start to market them more effectively and to work with them, because we think that we can get a lot more out of that sector. The truth is, a lot of them aren't selling, so the developers are glad to have some revenue stream in any way. And so you don't have to ask me during the question and answer. The Barbados Tourism Authority will not be committing funds to help anybody sell villas. That's not our business. We are simply helping to get people to come and stay at the villas. Precisely what. So that is what that initiative is about. If someone decides to buy a villa as a result of staying there, well, that's a matter for the owners of the properties and what they decide to do. Someone can stay at a hotel and go down the road and buy a villa. So that's really neither here nor there. But I don't want anyone to think that we are in the business of advertising property for sale in Barbados. That's not our business. We are in the business, again, of getting people to stay there and getting people to spend. I don't think I need to also share with you that, generally speaking, the price points on many of those villas is usually higher than what you would get in a traditional hotel room. So there's a very real economic argument to be made for pushing that aspect of our accommodation plan that has somewhat lulled for some reason. Our ninth initiative, and this one of course involves other ministries such as culture and transport and works and so on, and that is of course to work with the practitioners in the St. Lawrence Gap area to have it as much as possible function as an around the clock 24-hour weekend arts and craft and cultural performers market. Now, the issue of noise is one that we know many of the hotels, and for that matter residents in the area, do complain. So we expect to have to deal with that issue of noise levels and how we can best get the buy-in from everyone to maybe have the various agreements that have existed over the years of reducing the noise to a certain level after a certain time. But St. Lawrence Gap is our entertainment capital, and that is certainly where the visitors look forward to nightlife, and I expect it will continue in that vein for some time. I know that the Sugar Point facility that we soon will be doing in the Bridgetown port, that will have a large entertainment component as well, but it is not intended that that would replace St. Lawrence Gap. That would supplement it and also provide more options and so on. But St. Lawrence Gap has its character, its charm, and as you know, it's not just entertainment. There are restaurants, handicraft and the like, and it's just a buzz with a lot of life, and also a lot of indigenously owned smaller hotel properties that we think represent the very best of Barbados. So that is a serious initiative as well that we are looking to engage as well. The last initiative, the 10th one, and certainly not by no means the least, is that the government of Barbados is engaging with a variety of multilateral and private partners for the construction of new hotel plant in Barbados and rebuilding and reopening a number of derelict properties. Again, that initiative, I will touch on what will invariably come during the question and answer, and just say that the government's decision to take over Aman is very much in that vein. We have lost a lot of rooms with the closure of the Ammon Village. Ammon Village belonged to a private company, and naturally one would think a private sector problem should have a private sector solution. But the reality is that, 25,000 people stayed at Ammon Village the last calendar year. It was 2011. So you understand the sort of impact losing those rooms has had on our tourism. A lot of those people are also come through our partners, such as Virgin Holidays, for example, that would help secure airlift. So we have taken the decision to take over the Ammon property. And let me make it very clear, government will not be running any hotel again. It is our intention to get an operator, and in that vein, no fewer than six people have expressed an interest in running what the Ammon Village site. So we will get someone to operate it. Ideally, we would like to see something happen as soon as possible. We were optimistically hoping to get something done by this winter season, but it looks as though that is, to say the least, optimistic. The assessments are being done. The team at Barbados Tourism Investment Inc. are working very closely with the officials of the Ministry of Tourism, and we expect to make specific announcements about the way forward as far as Ammon is concerned. But the government did it. We, of course, again, we paid $50 million US for the property. The financing is being taken care of. The NIS is assisting us with some bridging, but the People's Republic of China have in fact stepped up to help us finance that investment. What we're getting it for is a very good rate. The valuations that have been done by private sector entities actually have, I'm going to get to that because the private sector ones are slightly higher than what we paid, but the government, what's his correct title, Commissioner of Land Tax, he has valued it significantly more than what we have paid for it. And the truth is, if you also, on top of that, consider it is the last piece of West Coast real estate in Barbados. There's none left, all gone. The last piece. And we all know that has been a vexing issue for Barbadians for some time. Barbados own a piece of West Coast real estate. And in case you're not aware, some might not realize it, even if they are aware of it. When you're talking the West Coast of Barbados, you are talking some of the most desired and expensive real estate in the world. I'm not exaggerating. That's a fact. You look at what people are prepared to give for beachfront land on that West Coast, you understand that, that is something that is treasured, and too much of it is owned externally. So at least the people of Barbados own a piece of that real estate, and I think therefore that in itself also puts the valuation and the actions of the government in a very important context. And going forward, we will make sure that whoever operates it and whatever we decide to do will in fact take into account, or we will be sensitive to the social realities involved. And it's not simply the arithmetic of what it's worth and what we're paying and what we're going to get. Even though the numbers make sense, there is a argument that we can make on behalf of the people of Barbados. Having said that, we are also trying as much as possible to work on some other derelict properties to see how best we can facilitate. It is not this government's desire again to go around trying to take over all the available hotel plant in Barbados that's down. But at the same time, we think we need as much as possible to boost our room stock and to see what we can do to get more of it up and running. Let me say, at this point, I'll make the call for captains of industry across this country, people in the tourism sector and people around the tourism sector, to please invest as well in the sector. I think that there's a need for greater levels of investment. We have done our part as a government. It was never our desire again to have to go this route, but we realized that the national interests required us to do it, and so that would have led to that decision. So those are the 10 major initiatives that we will be rolling out over the next couple of months.
Voice of Barbados, in light of the fact that you have decided to go back to the idea of government's involvement in Hammond, what was formerly Haywood's, run by the government, built by the government, and that you're looking at all of these little properties now to renovate and bring back to life. It also speaks to what appears to be Barbados' unattractiveness to major foreign investment in the area of the tourism sector. And I'd like to hear from you what you see as the difficulties. What are the hindrances? Why is it that other people like Sinckler, whose Prime Minister was on the air today talking glowingly about all the projects that he's got, how come they're getting them and we're not?
Well, first of all, I mean, we are attractive to foreign investors, but I think what has happened or has been happening in the sector over the last, dare I say, decade and a half, is that the type of investment that we're getting is probably not the very best for traditional tourism. I mentioned to you we have 2,500 villas here in Barbados. Now, the truth is 2,000 of that 2,500 were built very recently. Foreign investors. And if we were not attractive to foreign investors, we would not have those villas. And David, some of these villas, again, they could hold their own in Rodeo Drive. They could hold their own in the most expensive street in London. They could hold their own in Manhattan. These are world-class properties, many, many, many millions of dollars that have been invested. We are attractive to investors. We are desirable. I mean, only recently the Lone Star was purchased for a fairly ridiculous, something like $30 million US for a restaurant with a dining room probably twice the size of it here. But that is the reality of Barbados. We are attractive, but the question is, have we been able to attract traditional hotel investors? What has been the pattern is that hotels, or should we say hotel chains, let's say brands, they don't really like to invest. They like to manage. So they want you to make the investment, and they just come and raise their flag. It is very ironic that I mentioned 6 people showing an interest in Hammond. 2 of those 6 persons, it is my certain knowledge, were approached by Neil and Massey on investing in the property. They resisted that. But as soon as they heard government had made the commitment, they were calling either Minister Sinckler or myself or Stuart Lane down at BTI. So we are attractive, but there's a reality that we seem to have to face with respect to accommodation and what has been happening. We had the Radisson, of course, an investment made there. We had the Moutet family and what they've done with Marriott Courtyard. We've had investment made in the Oceans 2 property. I mean, Mr. De Freitas, I made a call for captains of industry. But here's a man that's done very well with chicken, and he's now invested significantly in the tourism sector. Mrs. Ram often criticized for whatever reason for how she probably operates in her main line of business, but she did something that a lot of people in Barbados with ability to invest haven't done. She built a hotel. I mean, whatever you want to say about how it looks, she invested in a hotel plan. There's investment there, but it's probably not what as much of it as we would like and how we would like it. But we have to continue to work on it. The Hyatt in Trinidad that you hear so much about belongs to the government. UDICOT, I think. UDICOT built it, and Hyatt just came again and raised the flag in management contract. So we may have to look at situations like that where government may get involved, and hopefully we can get other syndicates, because I think there's the possibility of attracting pension funds and hospitality investment companies to come here, and maybe we can go that route to see what we can do to get some more rooms, because the reality is it's all nice to talk about how many villas you have and the luxury in, but the airplanes come here, they have a front but they have a back. And if you're filling the front of the aircraft and no one is in the back, the airplanes aren't going to come. So we do need that balance, and we have to work on that 5,000 to 6,000 hotel rooms to see how we can boost it, how we can improve the quality of it, and that is where we are. With respect to Prime Minister Douglas, just for your information, he's talking about Christophe Harbour and Kittitian Hill. Those are villa projects. Those are not hotel projects. So just be aware of that. And understand that the investment he's talking about is the same thing that in terms of villas and that type of thing. So I just mentioned that and try to put that in place.
You mentioned at least one 5-star hotel project, but apart from that, if we look at
Kittitian Hill,
if we look
only 2
at
investments there.
Aman has for a long time been considered a tired property. It has been left vacant and languishing for quite some time. It stands to reason that a fair amount of money will have to be put into revitalizing it. Have you given any thought to what will be involved there? And what exactly do you have planned in terms of its layout and structure? Any details at this stage?
We've given a lot of thought to that. I mentioned earlier about the BTI officials and the assessment and the planning that are going on. I would say to you that the Ammon property is not in as terrible a condition as you may think. Structurally, it is actually very sound. I mean, having said that, it is, as you've mentioned, a dated plant, and the rooms to the north in particular are in dire need of work. The rooms to the south, the newer block, actually is in fairly good condition. So we are assessing to see what makes sense. We were, of course, ideally hoping to see something done as early as the latter part of this winter season, but I think that as we continue to do our work, we realize that that might be a little optimistic, and that's why I wanted to give Mr. Lane and his team, as well as the officials at the Ministry of Tourism, some more time to come to us that we can go forward. We are satisfied that the government has made the right decision, because clearly going forward, we needed to make sure that we had the property in hand. The other thing is that the most of the offers and Neil and Massey was actively speaking to someone who would plan to level the property and put up 30 villas. Now, that might be good for the villa market, but that could potentially be disastrous for us in terms of what we need to secure airlift, etc. And as I mentioned, having already lost all of the West Coast, the last little bit to the furthest northern part of the West Coast, at least we have that now, and we can decide where to go from there.
Mr. Sudi, there's been a heavy emphasis on the West Coast and the South Coast. Is there any intention to develop any properties on the East Coast for properties?
East Coast?
East Coast.
Not so much the East Coast proper. As you know, we felt, certainly late Prime Minister Thompson had very strong feelings on the issue of at least being very careful and selective in how we develop the East Coast. You don't want a repeat of the West Coast on the East Coast, because we won't have nothing left. So we're very careful with respect to the East Coast and the area adjacent to what has been called the National Park. But the Southeast now, definitely some potential there. The Sam Lord's Castle was there for many years. We would love to see that. The situations and the legal wrangling and so on involved there ironed out. that can become a reality again. Mr. Doyle continues to do amazing things with the crane, and he's also invested in other property in that vicinity, Whitehaven, and then